It's the 2Dumb2Quit podcast with Jeremy McCall. He's dumb, way too dumb to even quit. So, he has his own podcast now.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. This week, I'm going to be doing 4 quick podcasts on each of the 4 agreements that is outlined in the book, The 4 Agreements, written by Don Miguel Ruiz. The book is a practical guide to personal freedom, as he describes it, and it's definitely something, if you're into quick reads, it's a very easy read, and it's something that I've coupled with my Stoic practices and reading. And I just wanted to do something kind of going into each of the agreements. So I wanted to upload a podcast for the next 4 days as we chat a little further into each of these agreements with ourselves. And I talked yesterday in a short clip on my Instagram about wanting to dive deeper into the 4 agreements. And the 4 agreements themselves are, number 1, being impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. And number 4, always do your best. Now, this seems overly simplistic, but as you dive a little deeper into this and we start to see a pattern of how we talk to ourselves, the things that we believe about ourselves, you'll see that just small changes can make big differences in our lives. So each of these ideas have sub-thoughts and deeper interpretations. And today, I just want to look at the very first agreement with ourselves, being impeccable with your word. As kids, we begin to learn how the world works through what we see and what we hear repetitively. Our parents, our circumstances seem to create a bit of what's referred to as conditions of worth or standards that we begin to find in ourselves to receive love or criticism. And these things begin to embed in our subconscious as what behavioral scientists might refer to as like a life script, subconscious life script. And Ruiz, in the book, The 4 Agreements, writes, most of these unconscious beliefs that we have about ourselves are arbitrary or totally false, and many are irrational and unnecessarily limiting to ourselves and our potential. And you look at it, as kids, when we're learning our language or we're learning grammar, we don't argue with adults about the meaning of words when they say, this is red. You never hear a kid argue about, well, that's not red. We just agree. If our parents tell us, that the sky is blue, we believe that. The grass is green, we believe that. There's no reason to argue that as a kid because all we're doing is soaking up all of the information around us. And there's so much of it as a kid that we have to believe it for survival. And if our parents in the same way are telling us that we're handsome or we're pretty or we're smart or we're dumb, we believe them. If they tell us we're disruptive and troublemakers and dumb, we believe that too. And so as kids, we have no choice but to agree. And what ends up happening is we end up believing the shadows of things that aren't even there as being real. And it really starts with correcting our words about our reality and realizing it as adults. What we tell ourselves, what we act on is our reality. And you have to start screening your self-talk for negative, irrational chatter. What kinds of words do you use to describe your reality? Or do you lie? Do you say hurtful and poisonous things about yourself or about others, which is not healthy? Is it a coping mechanism? Is it a defense mechanism? Is it something into your subconscious where this is who we've become? It's not who we want to be. And so the first rule with ourselves is to be impeccable with your word. And by that, it means to be truthful and to say things that have a positive influence on you and others. We become what we repetitively do. If we consistently tell ourselves, you're going to quit, there's no sense in trying, we're going to fail, then how can we be shocked when our ventures or the things, our goals that we set out to, when they flop? We've told ourselves from the beginning that failure was the only outcome. And what we repetitively do and tell ourselves is our reality. So we need to practice using our voice and especially our inner monologue as a helper and not a hindrance. There's another side of this too. We need to do it without ego. And there's kind of a fine line to this because giving ourselves hope and confidence and faith by working hard for it, that's when it's earned. That's when it's real. Not building it up with things that have no value or are materialistic or are outside of our control. So if the 400 likes you got on your Instagram page or on your Instagram post you did yesterday is the thing that you're putting oh man, yeah, I'm doing really well, man, I had 400 people. It's not an indication of your failure or success or your self-worth. If you hang your hat on that, when those Instagram users go away, when those likes go away, you're back at the bottom of the barrel again. So the thing that's going to bring you up, the thing that's going to keep you happy, the thing that's going to better who you are is the work you put into your craft. Getting up early to better yourself, whether you're walking or working out, or even if it's just making a good, healthy eating choice. There's pizza right in front of your face and you grab the salad. Whatever your goals are, those are all the work builders, the truth, the things that you should be building the foundation of this on, not the ego, not the materialistic things or ego-driven likes or shares or follows, because none of that is real. None of it is tangible, and all of it can go away tomorrow. And if you base your self-worth on likes, and Instagram, decides to shut down tomorrow, now where's your worth? Now, again, where's the thing that makes you feel better? So you want to make sure that you're putting your worth on things you can control and work at. Being a better dad, a better mom, a better partner, being healthier, being more present in your daily life, whatever those things are that you want to build on, and making sure that you're reinforcing that with positive language. These are all things that we can build on. Yes, we have to believe in ourselves and our abilities through confidence of hard work and truth in our reality. So if I'm sitting on a stage with somebody who's, there's a guitar player in town here named Saul that actually is playing on my new record. He's an incredible guitar player. People would give their souls to play guitar like Saul. I can sit there and play guitar next to him and think I'm a terrible guitar player. I'm an awful guitar player. I'm dog shit. And start talking down to yourself. Or I can say, man, I need to work harder. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to better myself because this dude is inspiring the hell out of me right now. And what you do in that situation, instead of hating on him, oh man, fuck that guy. What happens a lot, especially in our culture, which we're going to talk more about, but you're actually building both of us up. In your mind, you're saying, this guy is amazing. You have the ability to tell this guy, wow, you are incredible. And then you have the ability to tell yourself, I'm going to work at this to get better. And it's inspiring just by changing that little bit of language. Instead of, I'm a shitty guitar player, man, I'm never going to be good enough to be in this town. You can hear it in the tone of your voice. It just automatically happens. Or saying, I'm going to get better. I'm going to work for that. I want to be that good. I want to be better at this. So bettering yourself, no matter what it is, these are all things that we can look at and build on. So being impeccable with your word and beginning to practice saying only the things you mean, analyzing what you're saying as you're saying it. Are you saying things out of anger and frustration or anxiety? Do you really mean it? Is it better left unsaid? I know it's something that I've struggled with, and it takes practice and self-correcting behavior to stop ourselves in the heat of the moment, eat our own ego for a minute, or that need to being right. I got to be right. I've got to be heard. I've got to get in the last word, which I'm the worst at. My wife will tell you about getting the last word in because my personality has a bit of a sarcasm to it. So I normally am the last one to say something where my wife will roll her eyes. But if we can eat our own ego and our need for being right or being heard, ask ourselves, is this something I need to say? Or is this something I mean? Or is this just a dig? Is this just an ego remark? Is this just something to jam it in a little harder on somebody else? So that's the first part of it, analyzing what we're saying. Do we mean this, or does it even need to be said? The next part is not only not using your voice against others or talking shit about people, but about using it against yourself. If you're telling yourself, I'm ugly, I'm dumb, I'm fat, I'm never going to make it, those will all eventually become true because you will begin to believe it. You will begin to practice. That's what it is. And I believe other people see that too. And I found this online. I think it might be a good exercise to try is wear a bracelet or a rubber band or something around your wrist. And if this pertains to you, every time you begin to find yourself speaking poorly about yourself, switch it to the other wrist. And the goal will be keeping it on the same wrist for a month. Now, maybe it starts with a day. Maybe it's, can I get through the week while self-correcting my thoughts about myself? So not switching it every time you begin to say it, but switching it the times that you don't self-correct. Man, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. The things we say about ourselves are most often the things we would never say out loud about other people. So why do we talk about ourselves that? Why do we punish ourselves with these thoughts that do nothing but derail your goals, drown out the light that we all have and we all need to thrive? So practice not using your voice against yourself. Build yourself up. And going back to what I was talking about earlier in this kind of generational culture of hating on projects or people or artists or politicians, And this is something that I started just kind of trying to remind myself of, which is just shouting the good. We're all going to run into people and things and music and politicians and bosses and jobs, et cetera, of things that we don't like, things that just do not fit our personality. They don't sit well with us. And it's okay. It's totally natural. You're not going to like everything. You're not going to love everything. But one practice that I've definitely began kind of implementing in my life was, instead of burning everything down, it becomes repetitive. Man, this fucking record sucks. This thing sucks. This sucks. It's not the things that suck. It's the attitude. It's your attitude about it. It was my attitude about it. Man, fuck this. I'm not doing this. Fuck that. Well, the only thing that happens is every time you do that, it begins to bring you down to that fuck this level. So instead of burning everything down, start replacing those words and thoughts with things that you love, shouting the good. An easy example, like I just said, is somebody going, man, this new movie, that new album sucks. It's just as easy to say, man, I listened to that record and it really wasn't my thing, but have you heard this album? Dude, this album is amazing. And you use your voice to shout the good. And so that's it for the first agreement. Start just implementing small things like this. You'll be surprised at how much better you feel. So that's the first agreement, being impeccable with your word. Tomorrow I'm going to be posting another 2Dumb2Quit podcast on agreement number 2, which is not taking things personally. And if you're finding something valuable in this, please share with a few of your friends. Continue to help me spread the word. And I want to challenge you guys to find the best uses of all of these different philosophies. I'm trying to bring in ideas more than just stoicism. The things that really bettered my life were many different things kind of jammed together, and it opens our mind. And I go to different places to find these types of things. And so the whole point is finding what works for you to make yourself better, to make yourself happy, and remembering that small changes in your mind make big changes in your life. So I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow about agreement number 2. Share this with some friends, and thanks for checking in on the old 2Dumb2Quit podcast. Talk to you all tomorrow.